please welcome Daniela back to the stage.
Good afternoon. Well, I think we've just had some great panel discussions, and I want to thank all of our presenters and panelists today. But today, we are going to hear from some more higher education leaders. We've heard today from our leaders in higher education institutions to discuss the innovations that exist in our technical colleges and universities. However, to fully prepare our post-secondary students for success in the workforce, additional training is needed. Today, we're excited to hear how a partnership between our host, Georgia Tech, and Cox is providing a new type of technical training. I'd like to now invite our panelists to the stage. Welcome, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. All right, so I'm Clarence Anthony Jr., Workforce Development Manager for the Partnership for Inclusive Innovation. Today, I'm joined by Pham, Talent Acquisition Director, University Relations and Early Careers, Cox Enterprises, Sruthi Kumar, Penn Workforce for Tomorrow Fellow, Cox Enterprises, and Georgia Tech Strategic Energy Institute, and Dr. Billyde Brown, Senior Research Faculty Member, EWD Director, Georgia Tech Manufacturing Institute, Manufacturing Program Advisor, MBDA Advanced Manufacturing Center. Thank you. All right, and just a little bit about me. So I spent about 11 years of my career working in higher education, working with college students, bachelor's, master's, Ph.D. students, through being a student academic advisor and also a career counselor before joining the Partnership for Inclusive Innovation. And the Partnership for Inclusive Innovation, our goal is to help position Georgia as being a tech capital of the East Coast by creating opportunity for all Georgians to innovate. And we specifically focus on small businesses and startups, community research, students, and also early career professionals through Workforce for Tomorrow, which is the fellowship that I manage and run. And in terms of Workforce for Tomorrow, it is a model of public-private partnerships focusing on early career professionals. The goal is to create the next generation of innovators within the state, specifically within key growth target industries and industry verticals, if you will, AI manufacturing, logistics and infrastructure, IT and cybersecurity, and clean tech, otherwise known as sustainability and energy. Ultimately, our goal is to reduce barriers so that early career professionals can find meaningful work and or potentially transition and pivot into careers of interest. And in terms of early career professionals, we are targeting those that have already earned a bachelor's degree, but we're also open to master's and PhD students. And in the year-long fellowship for Workforce for Tomorrow, a fellow works for 6 months in the public sector and 6 months in the private sector. Through that year, they're also exposed to networking opportunities, mentorship, professional development opportunities, and career development opportunities as well. And our goal specifically and also is to target underrepresented minorities, and that relates to race, gender, first-generation college student status, military veterans and spouses, and those who come from rural communities as well. And for those of you who are sports fans, and I'm a football guy per se, but one of the kind of underlying goals that we have, if you're thinking about recruiting, we see and hope that Workforce for Tomorrow will be and can be a tool for recruitment for those who would come to the state and work and become a part of our workforce, but also those who potentially would otherwise leave the state. So we're looking to retain talent as well. So with that, we'll move into our questions, and our first question is for Sun. Sun, could you share what prompted you to engage in Workforce for Tomorrow and how this program fits Cox's other talent development programs? How have programs like this impacted your talent strategy?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here with our stream panelists as well. For those who are not familiar with Cox Enterprise, we've been around for about 125 years. We are headquarters here in Atlanta around 3 core competencies: connectivity, mobility, and sustainability. So we have 3 divisions and serves each of the area. Cox Communications is our connectivity piece, Cox Automotive is our mobility piece, and Cox Enterprise is our sustainability piece. At Cox, to answer the question, what we saw was a strategic opportunity to really marry what's being done in academia in terms of the innovations that are being taught and learned, and applying it to real-world projects and work efforts. So what we do is we facilitate programs like our summer internship program, our co-op program, which is an experiential learning experience where students come on board every semester, and we roughly have about 45 students per semester. In the summer, we bring on about over 200 summer interns across the country. But we do give them real-world projects in which they're working with their teammates in real deliverables. Sruthi will get a little bit more in terms of what she's experiencing here at Cox, but that's what we do. But when you think about what Cox does holistically, we go further up the value chain in that we are looking at the high school ranks because we have programs that are geared towards high school students, because we do realize, and we try to meet students where they're at in their journey, some of them will not go on to higher education, which is okay. We have plentiful opportunities, through training and development programs at the high school levels that we want to kind of pipeline them into. Again, building that workforce for tomorrow through some of these experiential learning programs. And then when you kind of take a look at what Alex Taylor, our chairman and CEO, has put forth for us, our 34 by 34 initiative, it's really how do we impact 34 million's life positively by 2034. And when you really think about it, the workforce is a key component of that. And that's our mantra, and that's what we've been working towards, and that's what we integrate into our program, and that's how we bring it to life. It's really giving students that opportunity, mixing the academic with the real world projects and what they're learning and how they apply that.
Thank you, Son. All right. Next question is for Dr. Brown. What is most valuable about programs like this that blend coursework and experiential learning? And as a faculty member, how do you teach differently, knowing your lessons have daily practical application?
Yes, sir. That's a great question, and welcome everybody. How are you guys doing? Good afternoon. Yes, sir. I think basically the short answer to that is when you blend coursework and experiential learning, I think it helps better prepare the future workforce. That's the short answer. And what I wanted to do was talk about the fellow that I have that I'm advising for the Workforce for Tomorrow Fellowship. Her name is Aisha Baldwin. She's in the audience right now. And basically what we're doing with Aisha, for her first 6-month public sector rotation is that, number one, we're trying to do 3 major objectives. Number one, she's gonna gain some new skills by auditing a course. It's a ME 2110 mechanical engineering course called Creative Decisions and Design. So she's gonna pick up new skills in that course. Number 2, she's gaining a research experience by shadowing an undergraduate researcher. And number 3, she is actually working, because you heard my title, Manufacturing Advisor for the Georgia MBDA Center. So she is actually assisting minority-owned businesses, with their challenges, as they operate their own businesses. And so I feel like that latter part there is really the experiential learning part, because she's on the phone with clients of the Georgia MBDA Business Center and listening to their issues, their problems, right? And she's basically utilizing the skills that she's learning in ME 2110 to apply to help them applying those skills to help solve those problems. For instance, she's getting design and process thinking practice in that class, as well as rapid prototyping experience. So she's actually assisted one of the clients with a prototype. She's also, for example, she's worked with a company who wants to move to Georgia to start a manufacturing business in Georgia, working on a green material to replace PVC in carpet flooring industry. So she's actually created flow diagrams to basically help that business go from where they currently are, the resources and what they currently have, to where they want to be, right? So considering, their endpoints. So this is real world work that she's engaged in, and she's utilizing the coursework as well. So in addition, we at Georgia Tech, I work for the Georgia Tech Manufacturing Institute, and we recently won one of the largest grants Georgia Tech has ever gotten, as a single PI grant, over about $80 million. Actually, half of that is actually being distributed out to other coalitions and also to the MBDA, Georgia MBDA Center, the EI Squared, to do some of the workforce development work. And the other half is also working on construction to expand the Institute. But Aisha is able to, learn about manufacturing equipment and pick up different skills through our advanced manufacturing pilot facility, which is becoming the AI manufacturing pilot facility. And those skills she's able, helps her when she's talking to these business clients. That's the first part of the question. Sorry.
Thank you.
I can, if you want me to keep going, I can go to the second one.
Yeah, I think we have time, so if you want to touch on the second part, that would
Just
be great.
checking, because it was a little bit lengthy, sorry. I am Ph.D. Billyde here. So the second part, basically teaching. I don't do a whole lot of teaching, in fact, because I'm a research faculty with the Institute, so I primarily do research. But I do have one course. It's called Manufacturing Seminar, and this course is actually a seminar course. So primarily what I do is I solicit other experts in industry, manufacturing leaders in industry, academia, and government to come to Georgia Tech and give seminars to students, to a group of students and faculty here on campus. So we do about 8 to 10 lectures per semester. In fact, I just did one before I came here. We had the president and CEO of Titan Robotics give the seminar for today. So I think, even though it's not, I would say, teaching, I think this is a important example to students that, everything that you learn at the university doesn't have to be within the walls of the university. You can reach out externally and get the information that you need from other organizations. So I think this is important for their education, and even when they graduate, to continue their education, that they learn this process. So there we go.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And just want to go back to what Sun was sharing about engaging different populations and within the pipeline, and definitely appreciate your work there. And is what Dr. Brown was saying, and just something that I'm pretty familiar with in my background formerly as a career counselor and coach. People prepare for the world of work or the job market, or explore potential opportunities through a number of different ways. So you have coursework and learning different information that gives them the opportunity to see where they potentially fit and what they potentially can do, but then also shadowing, as you mentioned, and observing other people in their work, and then finally applying that work, and that could be through consultation or any other types of hands-on related activities. So thank you for that. All right, and Sruthi. So Sruthi, what have you enjoyed most about Workforce for Tomorrow, and how has your experience impacted your long-term career paths?
Hey everyone, it's an honor to be here to talk to you all about this. Hope everyone's awake. I know it's like 1 o'clock, but you're ready to go home. Wakey, wakey. Because you're finally getting the student perspective, right? Everyone else has talked about their business, the programs. Now you're getting the real deal, so pay attention. I really enjoy this program. I mean, working with Clarence has been an honor and just so fun, and he's made this program, you can tell he put his heart into it. I honestly did not know about this program. My mentor came across it on LinkedIn, and she was like, hey, this looks cool. Why don't you apply to it? And I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna get in, but I guess I can apply. So I ended up going through the interview process, and I felt immediately attracted to the sustainability front, and I've always been interested in the social impact component of things, so that was the vertical I ended up following, and I'm currently working with Cox Enterprises, like someone mentioned, and it has been just a very exciting and enlightening journey because I've got to meet so many great people and networking opportunities. Just this last week, the Cox team took me to the West Coast where we visited some warehouses and retail stores of Cox in Phoenix and San Diego, and it was just so great, and I don't think I would have gotten that opportunity without the PIN program. So, and to answer the second part of your question, my career path is a little bit of a weird one. I was pre-med in college and completely different field, healthcare, and I graduated a year early. I ended up switching out of that path because of a variety of reasons. I'm sure you've heard from the healthcare panel earlier about all the issues within healthcare, so definitely a lot of those came into play when I made that decision. And yeah, as I mentioned, I came across this program and I was like, wow, social impact, getting paid for an internship, what? So that was cool. And, just networking, like I will say this, I have the best boss ever, and she has supported my growth so much. I've only been with Cox for 3 months now, and I've already learned so many skill sets that I feel like I can use for my future job getting out of the fellowship in a year. So it's just been great. And also, this opportunity too, I've already met so many people, sorry, bad with names, but my girl Shauna, we've had so many interesting conversations already about the program itself and, everything you guys have been talking about. And I'm really excited to see so many programs out there, but I wish there was more awareness about it, because when I was going through the job hunting process, I didn't know any of these programs existed, honest to God. I was going on LinkedIn, I was looking at different, as a college student, you're looking at the big companies, and that's the honest truth. You want the big money, you want the big name, you want, to work, you worked hard in college, so you want to get out something with that. So, it's so crazy for me to hear this today. There's so many different programs I could have applied to that I just did not know about. So as a student who was in college for both COVID and non-COVID, I think that the 2 years that I was in college through COVID, it really took away those opportunities to network. And, if you would have told me my sophomore year I'll be talking to 200 people on stage, I probably would have cried just a little. So, and again, thanks to Clarence for mentoring me and my boss as well, Sierra Jordan and Cox. I've gained so much confidence already in the past few months. So I think that these type of programs should be really out there, because I personally have benefited so much from it. So thank you.
Thank you, Sruthi. And Sruthi actually touched on a number of different things that I wanted to kind of expound upon and failed to mention, so I apologize. But all Workforce for Tomorrow fellows in the year that they are with the fellowship are hired as full-time Georgia Tech employees, so they receive compensation and benefits as a part of their participation in the 2 rotations that they work within. And then also something that really struck me, Sruthi, what you shared, and just in my experience in working with students and early career professionals and alumni, is that for a lot of people, they're gonna, change jobs, they're gonna change industries, they're gonna move between different sectors, and that's also one of our goal for Workforce for Tomorrow, is to prepare people to be ready to do that. So if and when a time comes when a fellow or a person is thinking, you know what, I've been working in X, Y, and Z sector for X amount of years. I've had the experience of being able to network and work with other people from different industries and sectors as well. All right. So as we close, I'd love for each of you to share your top takeaways for entities looking to create a program that provides deeper real-world learning experiences to post-secondary students and alumni. What is most important to prioritize to bolster the state's pipeline?
At Cox, what we try to do is we really try to meet the students where they're at. When we think about our program experience, is we kind of step back and says, what do we need to deliver to enhance their experience, enhance their training and development, and really make them a better employee? Hopefully for Cox down the road, but as Clarence mentioned, career path takes a lot of twists and turns. But if we do our job properly, we're going to have a great individual that's going to go out there and be very productive, in their career and also in their community. So that's what we mean by when we really kind of step back and say, hey, we got to meet the students where they're at. We don't take anything for assumptions anymore. What we do is we reset the level of training and development that we think that might have been delivered in higher ed, but maybe because of due to limited resources or expertise, we go back in and now we're reintroducing some of these key core concepts for them to be successful. So we really do build that program out, and we make sure that we are meeting them. And it really also pertains to recruiting, because different students are on different tracks. So when we recruit for them, we don't try to fit them into all the roles that we have. We do listen proactively and says, hey, what do you want to do? And there are some, very transparent conversations. Understand what you want to do, but we don't do that. But I do know someone that does that. Let me make you the introductions to that person, because you're going to be more successful there than you would with us. So, so we do have those really good conversations. But one of the reasons I love working for Cox is we do believe in giving back. And that is our mantra, and that's what we do. And if we apply that to everything that we do in terms of our day job, it does carry over.
I would like to add to that, because I think in the job hunting process, it was very difficult seeing all the job descriptions saying cure cancer to, basically have this job. So the requirements are crazy sometimes, and you're like, I just graduated. Like, I'm not gonna have 10 years of experience for an analyst position. Please. So, your resume basically gets tossed out, right? So I just feel like, like you said, you're relearning the process when you're in the job. So giving people the opportunity, and so many people have talked about that, we just heard Bert talking about that, middle school career day. That's such a cool opportunity. I actually was talking to my sister about that. I was like, I miss career day. And she's like, ew, career day? That's so lame. And I was like, well, sorry. But I learned so much personally because, like I said, I was pre-med and I switched careers so many times. And looking back to that was valuable information. I'm like, wow, middle school me really wanted to be in interior design, and then look at where I ended up. So, that transition, and I still remember talking to the Atlanta weather guy, and he came to my school, and I was like, whoa. So, I think these opportunities are just amazing. And also campus recruitment, I just wanted to add, I don't remember who mentioned that on the panel, but I think that's just really awesome that people go out there, but not everyone goes to those events. So I think really tailoring these programs to individual student challenges, because as a first-generation American and from immigrant parents, I have experienced life anew. My parents really didn't know anything about the job industry here. They were like, we gave you the resources, go out and, find your way. So, I think really tailoring it to them and not expecting everybody to come out of college knowing everything, but rather understanding the challenges they face, especially with COVID. there weren't a lot of networking opportunities. Everything was virtual. It's really hard to network virtually. I mean, you're on camera and you're like, hey, what's up? So, it's not as organic as meeting people naturally. Like today, I feel like Shauna and I are best friends already. I know, like we talk so much. So, that wouldn't probably have happened if we talked online. So I think just giving the benefit of the doubt to students, and I really do feel like some of the things we talked about earlier was a little bit harsh coming from the student perspective, like saying, there's 3-to-1 ratio for jobs. That's understandable, but one, are you paying students what they deserve? Because college is not cheap, and rent in Atlanta is not cheap. Please. Are you paying me enough? And a lot of internships are not even paid. So I don't know what you're expecting me to get from this 3-to-1 ratio, because that's not what I'm getting. And two, most of these jobs on LinkedIn have over like 2,000 applicants, and the bot like throws out your application before a real human even looks at it. And I will pull up my LinkedIn for you guys. In 6 months, I've applied to over 700 jobs just on LinkedIn, and that's not outside of LinkedIn. And I've like DM'd over 1,000 people, like recruiters, people from companies I want to work with, learn from. So it is a grueling process, and that's like even for people with experience, the job hunting process is difficult. And I don't want like the panel to say that it's easier than it is, because it is not a one-click apply. They want you to fill out your resume 3 times in the job application, again, for no reason. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, you gotta write that thing again on that application. So each application takes you quite a minute. So, I think just giving students the benefit of the doubt, like it's not as easy as it used to be, Things are super competitive, and our generation has its own like challenges that previous generations didn't have. So there's just a lot of pressure. So I think that, just being understanding, patient, and, I just keep going back to Pham because he is so patient. I only met him today, and I can already see how much he wanted to help me. He was like, I already know who I need to connect you with. Like, you need to talk to this person. And, like, we need more of that, like, help others connect to where they're supposed to be. And because it's not enough anymore just to have connections with recruiters, because they can only go so far. And I remember talking to my friend from Truist about this, and it was super difficult for her to get through the door too, because you need to know someone and like 2 more people. So like, how do you think I'm supposed to get a job here? So yeah, I just patience, time, and just really glad this program exists. So thank you. Sorry I took up so much.
All right, just want to thank you all for sharing your insights, and I hope that you all found this interesting, and would love to potentially talk to you about Workforce for Tomorrow. If you have any questions, we are currently accepting applications for fellows, and that process it closes at the end of this month, and also looking to engage more partners in the public and the private sector. All right, thank you all, and thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.